Hey there, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Making Sales Social Live, coming to you from the Social Sales Link virtual studios. I'm Bob Woods. Bryn Tillman's not here today, but Stan Robinson Jr. is. How you doing, Stan?
Very good. Thanks, Bob. Look forward to
Excellent.
talking about who's viewed your profile because most of us don't use it enough.
Yeah, and you know something? It's one of those LinkedIn features that you either know about and love, or you react with that kind of seriously, I didn't even know that existed, or something similar type of thing. But it does exist, and it's pretty darn cool. It's one of the aspects of LinkedIn that, in my opinion, separate it from the other social networks and makes LinkedIn the ideal tool to earn sales conversations without being salesy. I don't know if you'd agree with that, Stan, but that's how I feel about it. Gosh darn it!
Yes. I think even though they designed it originally as a networking tool and a way for you to map your network digitally way back in the day, it's evolved into a tool that is phenomenal both for networking and sales.
Yes.
And I haven't researched this, but I can't think of other social platforms where you can see who's looked at your profile, even if they
Yeah,
don't engage.
I'd mentioned that already. When I was typing up the intro, I kind of gave that a real thought too. I'm going, Facebook, no, link, even like Substack, no, all of the other ones. And I could be wrong, but at least as far as all of the really popular ones go, I don't think that any of them do what LinkedIn does. So that's what makes it unique, and that's a big reason why I like it. Like I said before, because you can actually network with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So with that, Stan, before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, why don't you give us kind of like an overall way to think of who's viewed your profile? Because a lot of times people hear it and they go, "Oh, I know exactly what it is, and I know, I can imagine how to use it." And other people are like, "Yeah, I get what it is, but I'm not really sure how to use it." So why don't you start us off with that?
Yep. So, one way to think about who's viewed your profile is like caller ID. So,
Remember that?
someone calls and these days I don't know where I would be if I couldn't see who was calling before I picked up.
Yep.
But if you would pick up the call from the person who you see on caller ID, that is the way that you should look at who's viewed your profile. And we'll talk about some frameworks for thinking about, okay, who do I need to take the time to respond to, and so forth. But one thing about caller ID is that you will look at it.
Hmm.
Who's viewed your profile? Not as simple to look at. You can view it from your home page or your profile, but it's worth taking the time to see who has stopped by and looked at your profile. Um, because people will not stumble across your profile by mistake for no reason in most cases. They will have been referred by someone else, they will have read something that you wrote or that someone said about you, and they'll come to look at you for a reason. So it's not random, so it's worth taking the time to look at them.
Yeah, 100%. So it is a little more passive on LinkedIn than on a mobile phone when it comes to potentially responding. And also, no matter what mode you're in, more often than not, that phone call is going to pop up immediately on your phone with that caller ID. So, you do need to go through just a little bit more, and we'll tell you exactly how to do that in a little bit. But it's still kind of a screening thing at the same time, especially when you see that, unknown or blocked or whatever. I mean, that fortunately, you don't see that a lot on LinkedIn, but sometimes you will see that in terms of people who are blocking their own identities going out, and we'll even have just a real quick way of how not to deal with that afterwards. So with that, when you think about what you have going on in who's viewed your profiles, it's essentially the same kind of overall. type of thing in terms of the people who are coming in that you're going to have first degree connections, your first degree connections, and then your second degree connections and beyond. So, just in an overall sense, when you see something that's from a first degree connection in who's viewed your profile, just know that you can message them directly. You don't need to connect with them first, obviously, because they're already connected to you. That that may be an obvious thing, but if you're looking at it for the first time, just kind of know that that's the case there. There is no character limit on messages, which is really important and differentiates from the second degree, which we'll get into in a minute. But at that point, you're just sending like a regular DM through LinkedIn messaging. So that part's not a big deal. When it comes to the mindset, they already know you, which makes re-engagement easier. And it's made even easier or something like that, I guess, because they're the ones who looked at your profile. They came to your profile for a reason. They more than likely they did, even if it's just so and so popped up in my feed. I wonder what they're doing lately. Click. It could be as simple as that, or maybe they're actually looking for something that you might be able to help them with. So your goal is to restart the conversation that you've had with them, and also just find out why they were there. It's actually pretty simple. Now, second degree and beyond, second degree, third degree, um, to engage with them, you have to send a connection request first. So in that connection request, you have a 300 character limit on that connect note. So keep that in mind. That's one of the ways that second degree is very different from first degree when you're replying from who's viewed your profile. The other big thing has to do with free accounts versus premium accounts, and this is any premium account. So free accounts have a limited number of connection requests per month. I've seen 3, I've seen 5. I don't know what the standard is anymore because we all have premium accounts here at Social Sales Link, and because you can't have more than one account, I can't have like a dummy account on the side just to see what free people see because we follow the rules here. So, with that in mind, your goal here is to earn the connection before the conversation. So it's like a two-stage thing, but still, it's definitely worth it to go through because after all, just like your first degree connections, they came to your profile for a reason. Figure out why. Figure out if there's someone who you would like to earn that conversation with. So now that we've kind of given the overall thought process behind everything, let's get a little bit more directly into the template, Stan.
Yep. So someone's looked at your profile. What do you say to them? And if someone that you're already directly connected with stops by, particularly if you haven't talked with them in a while, you could just shoot them a quick DM saying, "Hey, thanks for stopping by my profile. It's been a while since we connected, and I'd love to catch up. And may I ask, what prompted the visit? And if you'd like, you can add, I'm happy to jump on a quick call if it makes sense, depending on who it is that has
Hmm.
stopped by your profile." So that's with a first degree connection. As Bob mentioned, you can send them a direct message, no character limit, and so forth. Um, why this works? It's very light, it's not pushy, it's permission based. So you're asking if they want to continue and start a new conversation and reconnect. Um, what prompted your visit is a nice open ended way of letting them tell you, "Hey, I stopped by because I saw something you wrote, or I was talking with someone else and that your name came up." Whatever the case is, it is a conversation starter. And even if they don't reply, you're kind of back on their radar. So it's a way of just staying in touch with people. Now, second degree or beyond, what do you say to people? As Bob mentioned, first you need to send a connection request. I realize that once you hit your 3 to 5 connections with a note limit on LinkedIn, there's
Hmm.
not a lot you can do. But you may have no choice but to send a connection request without a note because LinkedIn doesn't give you the opportunity to add a note. If you have to do that, that's why we suggest checking who's viewed your profile at least daily. Because if someone just looked at your profile and you send a request to connect relatively soon after that, you'll probably still be top of mind.
Yep.
If you wait a couple of days, the person may have forgotten why they visited your profile.
Probably
So,
forgot about you.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, nothing against you. That's just the way it is.
Right.
Everyone's
It's just human beings.
so. If you can write a note because you haven't hit that limit, you can simply say something like, "Thanks for stopping by my profile. After looking at yours, I'd love to connect. And curious how you found me." So these connection requests can be super short. Your goal is just to get connected. Um, this is something that it's 300 characters or less. It's short. It complements them without being overly flattery. And there's no pitch,
Hmm.
okay, no pressure. Bob,
Yep.
any additional thoughts just on those templates and how we suggest that people reach out?
So the templates are good. There's actually something that I used to kind of sort of teach like a long time ago that I think that unfortunately I didn't think about when we were talking about this and making the show notes for today. But you can reverse things just a little bit if you're a free member and you're out of those very precious 3 to 5 notes, and that's you can send a connection request, which obviously you won't be able to put a note in that. But then when they hopefully approve, you use some form of the message that we just had. Thanks for connecting. I noticed you stopped by my profile. I've had a chance to look at yours. At this point, because your first degree connections, though, you can actually put in maybe a tidbit or two from the profile about what you thought was interesting about them, and I saw that you graduated from the Ohio State University or something like that, basically, and then end it with curious how you found me, or something like that. So just because you've ran out of those 3 to 5 notes, don't necessarily think, well, I can't do this anymore. LinkedIn has locked me out. You just need to take that note and do it after the blind connection request. Now you're probably not going to get as many, so as many acceptances, I should say, because you don't have that note there. But hey, give it a shot.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, if you do use the note that says, after looking at your profile, I'd love to connect, make sure you go to their profile and look at it.
Yes, thank you. Because guess what? They can track it. And if you say that you looked at their profile and you haven't looked at their profile, whatever trust that you had going into that, you've completely and totally lost. So no matter what, if you have the notes or you don't have the notes, or even if you're doing a first degree one, look at their profile, because that's another ping on their radar, as I used to put it. Basically, it shows interest. And it just feels good if you know about who's viewed your profile, to actually go in and see who's viewed your profile.
Yeah, yeah. And there are times when you do look at their profile, you kind of peeking at each other. They
Hmm.
may go ahead and just send you a connection request.
That'll happen too.
Yeah,
That'll happen too. And at that point, especially if it comes in blind, no matter no matter where you're sending, or if it's come in or whatever, for that first initial response, I would recommend always asking, curious as to how you found me, or or words to that effect, because they do that in retail stores a lot. So just think of it as like someone popping into your retail store, and they're looking around. It's like, how'd you find me? You've heard that probably at many retail stores. Why not? Why the heck not use it yourself?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with that, now you're probably wondering, okay, all that sounds good, but where do I see this stuff at? So where to find it is there are two places that I know of. From your LinkedIn homepage, what you're going to do is you're going to look for the words profile viewers in that left hand rail just underneath your photo and headline. You click on that and you're taken to that page. Or you can go to your actual profile in the analytics section where it'll say something like 300 profile views or 500 profile views or 20 profile views or whatever. Click on that and you're taken to the exact same page where you're taken to from your LinkedIn homepage as well. Those are the two main places that I know where you can get to it from. Um, Now, what you're going to see is going to depend on whether or not you're a LinkedIn free member or you're a LinkedIn premium member. So, in the free member, you're going to be able to access three of your most recent viewers in the last 90 days. And that's down from five. So, that's one of the reasons why Stan is saying you really should check it every single day because if someone is in that three and then they drop off, what are you going to do? You've actually lost the opportunity to reach out to them. So here's where being a premium level member is really good. And if you're at free and you're thinking, do I really want to go to premium? This may actually sway you over to premium, especially if you're churning through profile viewers so fast every day that they're changing every day and you're wondering what you're losing, which I assume is what LinkedIn is thinking too, which is why they do it like this. So you get all of your viewers for up to the past 365 days. That is a year, folks, along with there are all kinds of other details about who they are, where they come from, and so on. Now, you do get some of those details in the free version, but in the premium version, and there's just way too many to list here in podcast form. But just know that you get a lot more granular, not really granular, but just more information in general about who they are, the companies that they're in, where they're from, and that type of thing. Because there are additional filters, and you can even see trends there as a premium member, whereas you just don't get that in the free member. And then there's one other really quick thing. Um, if you are in anonymous or private mode, you don't see any of this stuff, no matter what, if you're a free member or if you're a premium member. So get out of that anonymous or private mode, and you'll be able to see all this other stuff. Plus, quite frankly, as a salesperson or as anyone in a revenue generating position for their company, you're going to want to let people know that you are viewing their profiles for that radar ping effect that I was talking about before. Each radar ping will bring you a little higher up in terms of top of mind in their minds. So I would really encourage people who are in sales or revenue generating modes to do that. Um, and then just keep in mind one thing: not every viewer deserves a response. You really have to use your judgment in the same way that you triage a voicemail. And in fact, Marcello left a message before this started in our LinkedIn Live. He says he often does go in to see who visits his profile, and if they fit his ICP, that's when the work begins. That's probably the most simple way to put it.
Yes.
Really, really reach out to the people if they, if they do fit your ICP, or maybe you see a potential partnering possibility or networking possibility or something like that. In other words, don't do this to everyone. Do this to people who will help your business, and you can also help their business, whether it's through a direct sale or through networking or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. So a quick framework of how to decide. Okay, when you look at who's viewed your profile, do I take the time to follow up with them? What do I do? Um, if you are talking to them on a regular basis already, and they look at your profile, no need to message them again and ask if
Yeah,
they're.
like Stan and Bryn look at mine a lot. I look at theirs a lot. We're
Yeah.
not going to be messaging each other every single time. Trust
Nope,
me.
you look at my profile.
Yep.
Now, The flip side, and this is far more common, if you haven't talked to them in a while, and I know I'm guilty of this. I have lots of connections that I haven't been back in touch with. Um, so if you see out someone that you haven't talked with in a while and they pop up in who's viewed your profile, great opportunity to reconnect, start a new conversation, see what they're up to. It's perfect opportunity. Um, you may wonder, well, if they looked at my profile and they really wanted to talk to me, why didn't they just email or DM me? Well, we're all so busy. Someone may look at your profile intending to follow up. Someone walks into their office, they get off on another discussion, they change tabs, and you are gone.
Hmm.
So they just totally forget. Okay, I'm sure that's never happened to anyone but me, but be that as it may. Um,
Dog
so,
life.
yep, yep. So now, what if you don't recognize the person, maybe second degree connection or a first degree that you haven't been in touch with in forever, but you go to their profile and they look relevant? Then it's a good time to go ahead and reach out. As Bob kind of alluded to, if they're in private mode, anonymous, there's nothing you can do. Even if you're paying for a premium subscription, let's just be clear, LinkedIn wants to respect people's privacy, so you can't pay to see someone who doesn't want to be seen. So they're anonymous, just keep it moving. Okay,
Yep.
any thoughts beyond those, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I do actually kind of like the fact that LinkedIn does protect anonymity when people truly do want it, but it does come at a cost for them at least because they obviously can't see the people who are coming in. So there is a reciprocity thing going on there, but at the same time, if you're really sensitive about that type of stuff, no judgment, no nothing, make yourself private 100%. Don't even need a reason why, although the people who do it more often than not have very good reasons why, and that's more than cool. Just go ahead and do that. Just realize that if you're in sales, it does hurt you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah. And Bob, I'm not sure the answer to this because it hasn't come up in a while. The default setting in your settings under visibility
It's public.
is it is public. Okay.
It's public. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is good. If
Yeah.
for some reason you are playing with your settings and you're saying to yourself, I'm not seeing the stuff that Bob and Stan are talking about, you may want to go back to your settings and have a
Yep.
look at visibility and make
Yep.
sure that it's set to on.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And now that you've said that, I hope I can get to LinkedIn in time so I can give you a really quick path there. So you click on me from any page in there, you go to settings and privacy, you go to visibility, and then at the very top, it'll say visibility while viewing other profiles. You'll click into that and you'll see your three options: your name and headline, which is what we called public. They actually call that your name and headline now, private profile characteristics. And then if you don't know exactly what each shows, you just click on each of those and it will show you how you will show up in other people's when you visit their profiles. So, but excuse me, like I said, it's pretty preferable if you're in sales to keep it at your name and headline.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
So with
exactly.
that, who's viewed your profile? Who'd have thought unless you already know about it? And if you really don't know about it, check it out. Even if you're a free person who's not paying for LinkedIn, there is good information in there, and use it to start and earn those sales conversations. Anything else, Dan?
Yep, that's it. Just remember to do it, especially if you're on the free version, because as Bob mentioned, it's only the last five people. So if you're in
People,
sales,
yeah. It's
yeah,
three people now. Yeah,
yeah,
three
three
people.
people in terms of the messaging. Um, three people in terms of the last ones who've looked at your profile in the past 90 days.
Yeah, and
So
then And then messaging, I believe, is down to three as well. Sometimes I hear three, sometimes I hear five. So I'm not really sure, but it's either three or five. No matter what, it ain't a lot.
Yep, yep, exactly. So just remember to check it regularly.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely would do that, especially if you're publishing, especially if you're actually sharing content, because that's when people are more likely than not going to click through to you. So keep that in mind as well. In fact, I just thought of this, and this is something I've said a couple of times. If you have published something, just kind of make sure that you're hanging around LinkedIn for like a couple of hours afterwards and keep rerunning it, because if you get a lot of interest, you're going to see people popping in and out of that list. If
Yeah,
you're a free member, if you're a paid member, obviously you can keep track of all of them.
great point.
So I think with that, thanks for joining us here on Making Sales Social Live. We're here live every week, Mondays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in the US. So, put a block in your calendar for us. That's what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't know to show up ourselves. Um, if you're listening to us as a recording on our podcast, though, and you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe or follow button. Drop us a like and a comment, and if you would be so kind, share alike, whether it's our lives on LinkedIn or our podcasts as well. We would really like to get all of the hopefully valuable type of information that we are providing to you out to as many people as possible who will benefit from it. So, besides these LinkedIn live episodes, we also interview leaders and experts in sales, marketing, business, many, many more areas. So, catch those as well. There is information on our podcast at socialsaleslink.com/podcast as well. So, when you are out and about this week and every week, be sure to make your sales
Social.
exactly. See everyone next week. Bye.
Bye bye.